So hey guys, welcome to the 3000 subscriber AMA. It's been a week since I posted a video announcing this AMA, and in that week I've gained 260 subscribers in 1 week. I don't know what's going on, I'm confused, and I like it. So let's start it off with the first question. Do you see my question? Asks Sam T. I made that really face, and then I realized I don't have a webcam. So imagine me making a weird face, even though you've never seen me before. Next, it's Omar. Question: what would it take for you to perhaps return to WoW and finally be content with how they go about releasing content? I, for one, unsubbed 3 months ago and I'm still not convinced with Legion. Love your videos, Omar. I remember you, Omar. You've been here for a very long time. You are a loyal subscriber. I like that. Have a cookie. So for me, it's mostly about raids, and I really like the raid schedule in Draenor. I think it was fine. Although I would like to see multiple raids per tier, so instead of getting this one either 10 boss raid or 14 boss raid, which eventually gets boring because you are in this one raid for so long every week, it kind of gets dull. I'd like to see, I don't know, 2-4 boss raids and then maybe Onyxia style boss, just somewhere else in a lair, you know, dragon in a lair. I would prefer that to the huge instances we have now, but, you know, it was still fine. I enjoyed the raids in Draenor. What I would like to see, though, in Legion is content for everyone else. Alright, raiders are set. Raiders are happy. Because raids are awesome, and we get enough of them. But everyone else, like the PvPers, you know, and people who just like to run around the world and do daily quests and that kind of stuff, those people don't have enough content. And I like to do this kind of stuff when I'm not raiding, and I don't want to raid all the time. And I liked it the way they did it in Pandaria, where they released Throne of Thunder with Isle of Thunder. And then they released the Timeless Isle, even though I didn't really like that. I still had fun there collecting blood coins. You know, on the Undasta Island, where you can farm dinosaurs and stuff, just to get mounts and pets, that kind of stuff. I would really like to see more of that. So every time they release a raid, they could release like one of those Undasta Islands, or Throne of Thunder, or Isle of Thunder Islands. I would like to see that. And thanks to the artifact system, they have a really easy way of creating content and pushing people to do that content. Because they can make another Undasta Island or Island of Giants, something like that. And they can say, look, there is a meta achievement there. If you do that meta achievement, you will get an artifact skin. And people will do it. It's not that difficult. Moving on, what improvements are you hoping for in Legion? And congrats on 3K. I just talked about that. I just want a reason to go into the world and have fun there, instead of sitting in my bloody garrison all the time. There you go. Alfgiri, when will you finish Moo Master? Unfortunately, Moo Master, the Torrent Druid, has been deleted. It was a stupid idea to make another Druid, because Druids aren't actually that much fun to level. They're fun at endgame, not so much fun when you're leveling them. Unfortunately. So, the answer is never. Moving on, Robin Anderson asks, what happened to the Nostalrius content on your channel? Question mark, question mark. And the answer is pretty simple. I don't have enough time to play on Nostalrius right now. Because the time I used to dedicate to Nostalrius has now been devoured by Cities Skylines. That game is evil. If you want to have a life, don't play Cities Skylines. Next, Harvey Roach. How does a great man take a poo? Does he use a brush or tissue? What kind of fucking... Of course you use a brush while stroking your manly beard. Hey, what kind of a question is that? Next question comes from Mr. Wiz123Full. Congrats on 3K subs, although I'm somewhat new to the channel, subbed about a week ago. Welcome to my channel. From your videos, it's pretty clear that you're a raider, and my friends want me to come over to WoW and raid with them. They haven't started in Warlords of Draenor. I'm very experienced with MMOs, played PW1. Is that Perfect World 1? I think so. Rift, Ion, and currently Final Fantasy XIV. I'm really enjoying raiding in Final Fantasy right now, with very challenging and interesting raids. But how do you explain raiding in WoW in comparison? I don't know if you're familiar with raids in Final Fantasy XIV or not. I am not, unfortunately. Example, meta, the different roles of each player, what makes a good tank, healer, DPS, etc. Also, how accessible it is, and what do you enjoy about raiding? Challenge, cooperation, rewards, maybe the story, and is it worth switching games for specifically raiding? Well, I would say that raiding in WoW is the best raiding you're gonna get with a Holy Trinity based MMO. The bosses are very well designed, and the raids overall are fantastic. Unfortunately, I can't stand Final Fantasy XIV. That game is too goddamn slow for me. But I've played other MMOs. I've played Ion, I've played Rift, I've even played Perfect World, and I've played Requiem, the Memento Mori expansion, and I've always been disappointed with raids in any other MMO besides WoW. It's either the animation, or the length of the fight, or the complexity of the fight. Just there is always something that rubs me the wrong way when it comes to raiding in other MMOs. For me, WoW has just the best raiding experience you can get, really. And what do I personally enjoy about raiding? Well, it's mostly the people I raid with. If I have a good group of people that I raid with, I'll be happy. If that group is just not fun to be around and not fun to raid with, I'm not gonna raid. You know, I need that kind of stuff where, you know, we can misdirect the raid leader for fun on trash, or the raid leader as a fire mage gets a huge proc, so I'm gonna cyclone the last remaining trash mob, so he just loses that proc and he's really mad and he's shouting over TeamSpeak and we're just having a laugh about it. I need that kind of stuff. And of course the challenge is nice. When you wipe on a boss like 80 times and then you kill it, it feels really good. And just the feeling of progress. When you get to a boss for the first time and you pull it, everyone's panicking because they saw a guide, they read a guide or whatever, but you will need to play it to get the feel for the fight. And as you wipe over and over and over and over again, more people will start to get the feel of the fight, and they will start to do what they're supposed to do. And suddenly, you pull the boss, and the stars align. Everyone's doing their job, and about halfway through the boss, you start to get this feeling of something's different now. Healers are doing fine, damage dealers are doing fine, tanks are doing what they're supposed to do. This boss is gonna die. And as he's getting lower on health, you know, 10%, 5%, for me at least, it gets really exciting. My heart starts racing. And my hands start shaking just a little bit. I get sweaty palms and I start breathing really fast. And you know, as he's getting lower and lower, I get even more excited. I'm like, oh my god, the boss is gonna die. He's on 5%, 2%, 3%, 1%. I start screaming over TeamSpeak. And I couldn't give less of a shit about loot. Alright? And I feel like this. I get this, you know, heart racing and hands shaking every time I'm about to kill a new boss that we've been working on for a while. And that's what's really exciting for me about raiding. And that's why I hate LFR, because people in LFR don't experience this. And everyone who's interested in raiding should experience this at least once. Right? This kind of excitement of killing a new boss. I really like that. So I hope that answer was sufficient for you. Moving on, Crazy Boomkin, I like that name. And this is kind of 3 questions in one. So, what is your honest opinion about Blizzard milking their player base? I think it's just disgusting. There is no reason for server transfers and faction changes and stuff like that to cost money. We already pay every year or 2 years for the box, for the expansion, and then we're paying a subscription fee, and yet there is a shop that has mounts and pets in it that cost real money. I mean, I've seen free-to-play games handle this kind of shopping stuff better than Blizzard. I mean, Guild Wars 2, you just buy the game and then you can play it for free. And Guild Wars 2 has an in-game shop. But if you don't want to spend real money, you can just exchange the in-game gold for the currency for the shop. So you can buy everything in the shop with in-game currency. Yes, it's expensive, but you can get everything in the shop essentially for free by playing the game. Blizzard is just being greedy. It's nothing else. It's just them being greedy assholes. That's all it is. Now, why is everyone so hyped about Legion? Well, Legion is their last chance. If they fail with Legion as much as they did with Warlords, WoW isn't gonna be the biggest MMO on the market anymore. And it's the game that makes them the most money, I would think, right? I mean, 5 million people times what? 12 euros or $12 or whatever your region equivalent is? Per month, that is. Then people are buying stupid shit from the shop, faction changes, race changes, server transfers. Yeah, WoW makes a lot of money. And since this is pretty much their last chance of keeping this money-making giant, you know, this biggest MMO in the world alive, one would think that they will try everything they can to keep it alive and to make it as good as possible. Also, there is like Illidan, Ashbringer, Demon Hunters, and a lot of lore. And kind of the last question from Crazy Boomkin is what made me start making YouTube videos. And I actually thought about making YouTube videos for a while. I always thought it would be fun. And it is. And it was in Mitsu Pandaria. I was a Boomkin and I couldn't for the life of me find a good Boomkin guide on YouTube. I wasn't happy with any of the Boomkin guides I found. They either didn't explain things enough or they had errors in them, and I was just unhappy with that. So I ended up reading the Elitist Jerks guide for Boomkins. And that guide, if you remember, in Mitsu Pandaria, the Boomkin guide on Elitist Jerks was like 5 or 8 pages long. And I imagine that a lot of people aren't going to read that. It's just too much information for them. So I did my own theory crafting and I combined it with the guide from Elitist Jerks and I made a guide. And that guide was sort of 20, 30-ish minutes long, which is still a long guide. But, it had everything I knew about Boomkins combined with some of the stuff from the Elitist Jerks guide. So I put it up on YouTube and after about a week it had, 100, 200 views. It had about 10 or 15 likes, and I was really happy with that. And people started asking more questions about AoEing and stuff that I just forgot to put into the guide. So I started making additional videos, right? And I kind of started having a lot of fun, and I pretty much got addicted to the feedback and to the comments. Every day I would come home from work, check my emails to see if anyone subscribed, and I would read all the comments, I would reply to everyone, and I was having a blast. And I'm still having a blast. This is why I'm still doing this. I'll make a video that I think you guys will like or someone will find helpful. And when you guys like it or when someone finds it helpful, it makes me happy, I like reading the comments and seeing who subscribed and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what keeps me going. You guys, your feedback and, your nice comments and everything. So that's all the questions from the original 3,000 subscriber AMA announcement. Now, this is only 12 minutes, and I feel like we need more questions. So, I've gathered some other questions from my other videos, so let's answer those as well. Why not? So, Mr. Chime 6 Million Wits asks, why were you Horde in the first place? This is on the video, so this happened. And this is really funny, because this is the video where I kind of announced or told you guys that I've race changed or faction changed from a Troll Druid to a Night Elf Druid because I found out my old friends are still playing on Drakthul, which is my server, but they're Alliance. Now, I originally went Horde because I always wanted to be a Druid and I didn't want to be a Night Elf. Yep. Didn't want to be a Night Elf or a Worgen. I wanted to be a Troll because Trolls are my favorite race in WoW. And Dwarfs are my second favorite race. So at least I have Delvar as a bodyguard, so I have a dwarf bodyguard. By the way, has anyone else noticed that Delvar, the dwarf Death Knight bodyguard for Alliance, has a human voice actor? Isn't that weird? Next question, why did you start making Warframe videos? Well, first of all, I really like playing Warframe. I have about 600 hours played on Warframe. And I just really like making guides, I really enjoy just making guides that help people out. And outside of class guides, I can't really do that with Warlords, because, well, resources are borked. You get everything from a trading post. I mean, on my Druid, I recently switched to Alchemy, and every week I make at least like 4,000 gold just by buying, fireweed from the trading post, making it into Agi potions, and selling it on the auction house with my alchemy catalysts. Gathering resources or farming resources is not a thing, and that kind of annoys me. So I started making guides for Warframe instead, and they're actually doing pretty good. So yeah, happy. Next question, are you gonna be Resto, Boomkin, Feral or Guardian for the Legion? And honestly, I have no idea. I might be Boomkin if they change them from being this Starfall vending machine to something that's fun to play for me again. I might play Boomkin. But I will probably stay Feral Resto. Feral for the open world and Resto for raids, dungeons and battlegrounds. Moving on. This is actually a very good question. How long does it take to make a video? Well, let's just say I'm 14.5 minutes in. It's been over an hour because I make mistakes or maybe there is a very loud lip smack in one of the recordings and I remove it, I record it again. So let's just say hour and a half. Alright, after this is done, I have to go in-game. I'm thinking it's going to be Warframe, and I will record about an hour worth of footage for a 20-minute video. Right, so that's 2.5 hours. From that, I will pick the clip that I like the most. I'll put it here, which will just take a second. Then it takes about an hour to process the video, so that's 3.5 hours. Then I have to upload it on YouTube, which takes about 15 minutes. And while all that is happening, I will come up with a title. I will write it down in a notepad. I will write down the description so I can just copy it. I will make a thumbnail. Then I have to do the tags. Then I have to watch the video again just to make sure there are no visual errors after processing. So let's just say about 4 hours. Alright, this video took about 4 hours from the start, which is me talking, to the end product you are watching right now. And these types of videos, Q&A and AMA, are really easy to make. Sometimes I record even more footage, or it takes me longer to do the narration because I make more mistakes. So it ranges, from 2 hours up to, I don't know, 6 hours and more. Sometimes I just start video on Monday and then I work on it on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, and it comes out on Friday. It's all over the place. Not every video takes 4 hours. Some of them take less, some of them take more. And I think I've hit the microphone. Stop right there. Normally, I would re-record that. I would delete that because I hit the microphone and I would record it again. But I'm not going to do it this time. And sometimes I'll make a video, I will spend, 2-3 hours on it. Then I'll watch it a couple of times and I'll be like, I don't like this video anymore. And I will just scrap it. I will delete it. 3 hours, whoosh, down the toilet. But then again, I really enjoy just making videos and editing videos. So, whatever. Is that enough? Now let's do one more question. I actually really want to answer this one. A lot of people have been asking about this. So, are you ever going to get a face cam? No, with my kind of videos, it doesn't work. I don't see how a face cam would enhance my videos in any way, shape or form. It works for certain types of videos, horror screams and reactions and that kind of stuff. But most of the time, when I'm looking for a guide or I'm interested in a game and I want to find out more about that game, when I see a face in the thumbnail, I'm not gonna click on that video. Because what the thumbnail tells me is that this video is not about the game, it's about you. And I don't care about you when I'm looking for a guide. So I'm just gonna click on something that has a nice thumbnail and it doesn't have your fucking face in it. Now, one person that this works for is Asmongold. He does guides and he has a face cam in the video, but for him, it works. It's our boy, Big Dick Asmongold. It works for him. I can watch Asmongold the whole day and I will never get tired of it. And that's it for the 3,000 subscriber AMA. I thank you very much for watching, guys. And I thank you overall. Without you, this wouldn't happen. So thank you very much. And I will see you next time. And by the looks of it, and by the speed at which I am gaining subscribers now, next time is going to be very soon. Because while I was recording this, just the narration, I got 3 more subscribers on YouTube. It's amazing. As I was saying in the beginning, I am confused. I don't know what's happening, but I like it. Bye-bye.
Excellent work, Tenno.